faces, worn out places, worn out faces, bright and early for their daily races, going nowhere, going nowhere. Their tears are filling up their glasses, no expression, no expression. Hide my head, I wanna drown my sorrow. No tomorrow, no tomorrow. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Children waiting for the day they feel good. Happy birthday, happy birthday. And to feel the way that every child should sit and listen, sit and listen. Went to school and I was very nervous. No one knew me, no one knew me. Hello teacher, tell me what's my lesson. Look right through me, look right through me. And I find it kinda funny, I find it kinda sad. The dreams in which I'm dying are the best I've ever had. I find it hard to tell you, I find it hard to take. When people run in circles, it's a very, very mad world. Mad world. Enlarging your world. Mad world.
The death penalty seems brutal,
outdated,
atrocious,
archaic,
barbarian punishment.
I believe every state should have it.
A great idea.
It is silly to keep them alive and keep them fed, clothed.
You don't get to choose who lives and who dies.
I've never really been able to wrap my head around the death penalty as a form of punishment.
There are other ways in which we can exercise crime and punishment.
I think that child molesters, I think that rapists, I think that murderers should probably be killed. I don't think that they should be able to breed.
The death penalty has lessened crime rates. The death penalty has a lot more things to go, positive for it than the negativity.
There doesn't seem to be any significant compelling evidence to suggest that the existence of the death penalty has any significant or major effect on curbing crime rates.
States that are enforcing the death penalty are actually spending more.
The actual trial cost is almost 10 times more expensive for someone who's being tried in a death penalty case versus one which is life without parole.
A number of people that have been on death row are executed, and now it turns out that they're innocent.
It's hard to judge the entire United States as one body in terms of the death penalty. You won't see it as much in a state like Vermont as you will in Texas.
Compared to other countries, it seems that the United States falls in the middle ground when it comes to the death penalty.
In Mexico, there is no death penalty.
Death penalty in France is forbidden.
We don't have a death penalty here in Bulgaria. We had it when we were in communist time.
I'm originally from Britain, where there's been a total ban on capital punishment. The European Union, in fact, put a ban on death penalty in the year 2000, and countries are not even allowed to join the EU unless they follow this law.
I'm sure we're a lot less strict than other countries, like Middle Eastern countries, or even in the Philippines, but that doesn't mean that that it's okay.
While we're not the worst, we could do better.
2014 was a big turning point for capital punishment in the United States because there were 3 botched lethal injections.
Some of them have gone wrong and people have sat there agonizing in pain.
The recent execution botch changed my perspective on the death penalty a little bit.
Botched executions really just demonstrate that we don't have the humane ways of supporting those decisions, and we shouldn't fool ourselves into thinking we do.
I think maybe it even seems that hanging somebody was a little bit more humane than the way that we've killed people.
There's really no situation in which I can imagine capital punishment being the true, right, rational response to a crime. Punishment should not be doled out based on emotion.
Under no circumstance, the death penalty would be fine.
Whether or not it could be effective in some situations, I can't say no for certain.
The fact of the matter is, we give out some of the longest prison sentences in the world already.
I do support the death penalty. I think that in some cases, whether it be a mass murderer or anything, I think that's one of the only situations where I would agree with it.
We are a civilized country, and we should be able to punish people in a way that's comparable for those crimes that does not involve ending their life.
More death and more bloodshed doesn't take us closer to a solution.
I believe government should try to be better than the individuals they govern.
Just last century, we were shocking people to death. So anything after that is relatively humane.
That seems like something from another time that we'll look back at in hundreds of years and say, I can't believe we thought we were a progressive society and we were doling out the death penalty for criminals.
A recent survey apparently showed that 54% of people in this country are in favour of the death penalty. And do you know how many people they asked? 1,100. 54% of that figure is 594. Those 594 people really need to take a look at themselves. That's right, I'm about to lay the smackdown on nearly 600 people. I mean, like, not literally. That'd be kind of defeating the whole object. I mean verbally, of course. Let's have a look at some of the arguments. The argument that many supporters of the death penalty put forward is that we should punish taking a life by taking a life. What you're essentially saying is, you've committed murder, murder is wrong, we need to show you that murder is wrong, and the way that we're going to do that is to murder you. And surely if you're going to use this as a basis of a fair legal system, what you really need to do is extend it to every single crime and not just murder. Are you going to mug a mugger?
It's time for justice!
Are you going to flash a flasher?
It's time for justice!
And what if someone commits insider trading? Another argument put forward by proponents of the death penalty is that it's a strong deterrent. Anne Widdecombe recently stated that we'd have a much more effective legal system if the law was tougher. I think Anne Widdecombe's support of the death penalty is one of the strongest possible arguments against it. Are people really suggesting that we feel free to kill in this country because there is no death penalty? Surely we should be inundated with immigrant murderers looking to take advantage of our lax regulations on killing. In the US, the states that have the death penalty typically have a higher murder rate than those without. Perhaps that's because by sanctioning murder, we're actually undermining the value of human life. It's like how I can't watch ballroom dancing anymore, ever since I saw Anne Widdecombe murdering the art form on Strictly Come Dancing. If only the judges were tougher on her. In the state of Illinois, where the murder rate per capita is much higher than it is here in the UK, they've recently abolished the death penalty because no legal system could ever guarantee that no innocent person would ever be put to death. Reinstating the death penalty, despite having a flawed system, is a little bit like saying you want to conduct heart surgery, despite the fact your hands get a little bit shaky when you see blood. In conclusion, how can we really consider ourselves a civilised society while sanctioning murder? Thank you very much for listening. I'm off to explain this another 594 times.
And you're right now, you can start again. I'm sorry about that.
That's it.
So it's from Kavita Krishnan, your question.
So I've been a friend of Myron Sukumaran, one of the 2 Australian men on death row in Bali, since I was 16 years old. Everyone who knows him is absolutely devastated by what is about to happen. I have a statement that I'd like to read, which Mayu has sent through his brother. This is what he says. I acknowledge more than anyone that I've made mistakes and that I'm not a perfect person. But I've learned a lot in prison and am grateful to the Indonesian justice system and to the prison guards for allowing me to achieve all that I have for myself and for the other prisoners, which I've witnessed. That's not his statement. Andrew and I are not the same people we were 10 years ago. But who is really? We did commit a serious crime and deserve punishment, but we have also paid a great deal for our crimes, as have our families. Please allow us to stay in prison and live. Sorry. Our families should not have to suffer more. Our families should not have to suffer more for our mistakes. And I'm just a friend. My question for the panel is this: why kill the rehabilitated?
Why kill the rehabilitated? Why kill the person who is a positive influence on those around them, a person who is doing good? Why kill my friend, Mayu?
Thank you, bravely done. Corinne, I'd like to start with you.
I just think it's a travesty that the death penalty exists anywhere in the world. I just do not agree with killing people as a punishment for anything. And these two guys, they have rehabilitated themselves, and they have done really extraordinary work in that prison as well, helping other prisoners who are in there, especially Maya with his artwork and that kind of thing. And I think we are destroying two lives who had a lot to give. I know they did bad things in the past, but they had a lot to give. It just seems like a terrible waste. And it doesn't deter anyone from smuggling drugs anyway, so it's bloody pointless.
Alan Jones.
Well, what can you say? It's barbaric, absolutely barbaric. And if we had a death penalty here, Lindy Chamberlain would be dead, and she was innocent. I find it just incomprehensible that these people can't yield to pleas for clemency. They will say, oh, well, it's our system. Well, it might be, but they're our people. And to think that you justify punishment by murder, statutory murder, means, quite frankly, that the barbarians are at the gate. And someone has to get on the phone to this bloke, Widodo, and simply say, well, you do what you like, but we gave you $1 billion when you were hit by the tsunami. We gave you $1 billion. At every turn, we've tried to assist you people. But remember one thing. There is that poor man, Mr. Rush, in Townsville, most probably watching this program. And he thought his son was going to head to Bali. He didn't know anything about it. So he went to the federal police and he said, my boy is up to something. Can you stop him from going? Instead of preventing these people from going, they gave all the information to the Indonesian police and virtually said to them, do with them what you will. Well, this is what they're going to do now. The argument was, oh, well, we'll catch them all and we'll find who the big boys are. Well, they found none of the big boys because, as Mayan has said, Sukumaran, I cannot speak because they'll kill my family. That's why he can't tell you who the big boys are. So what have we got in return? For the noble behaviour of the federal police, 2 dead Australians. It's a shame on the Indonesian system, but a pronounced shame on the federal police system.